Hello everybody and welcome back to my obedience training channel. My name is Kashmir and next to me laying on the floor I have Zeus the giant schnauzer. Now what I want to talk about and teach today is the sit command. Now that is one of the first commands we tend to teach our puppies because it's one of the most common and the easier ones to teach. Now, as with every training session, it's best taught to use treats, whether that is their kibble, which I've talked about in a previous video about treats, either their kibble, a level 2 treat would be just treats in a bag, or a level 3 would be your actual human food, whether that's wieners or hot dogs if you're comfortable feeding them that. It can be popcorn. In my case, because Zeus is on an all-meat diet, I give him dehydrated beef, or liver or salmon, anything that's dehydrated, or even some steak that's been cooked, pork chops that have been cooked, anything that's a little healthier on a meat selection. So you can use a treat or you can also use the clicker. Now a clicker is a tool that you can buy at a pet store, and when your dog does the behavior in which you want them to do, you click, and the dog will eventually gradually understand that that click is a confirmation that they did something good, and will make them look back and think, oh, what did I just do that mommy liked? So with sitting, if you find your dog just sitting on their own, you can click and that confirms, yes, I like it when you do that, that is sitting. So that's an option as well, to use the clicker. In my case with Zeus, I have not used a clicker. I have done everything with hand gestures and just getting them to fall into place. That comes down to your own training technique on which you prefer to do. Now Zeus already knows how to sit because he's already 1.5 years. Now we are advancing to outdoor locations, and in stores I'm getting him to sit. So even if your dog is capable of doing a basic command in a quiet, non-distractive environment, you still have to continue that training in different areas so that they understand it's not just in one specific scenario or position that you're going to be asking them to sit. It's throughout their whole training, or in Zeus's case with wanting to be, like I want him to be a service dog, he's going to be in high distractive, high traffic areas that I will get him to sit. So those are all areas that I need to be training Zeus going forward as well. Yes, he knows how to sit, but he does not quite understand sit in big areas yet because I haven't exposed him to, say, a mall. So this video I'm going to show you the basics to teaching your dog how to sit, and you're going to do this 2 to 3 times in a row, and you're going to do this daily, and you're going to get your dog to perfect that on command. So start off in a quiet environment. I choose my salon room in my house because it is a little more spacious on the floor because Zeus is a big boy, and it's quiet, there's no distractions. And then after inside, I move him to outdoors. Now outdoors is a separate training session. You can't expect your dog to sit immediately when you go into a new environment because there's new distractions and you got to work through those distractions, which I'll talk about a little later. So let me give you the basics in my salon room where Zeus is already comfortable, and then I'll move to outdoors where it's a little more of a distraction area for where Zeus is, because I don't want this to set the expectation that it's really easy the first day, first session. Zeus is already capable of sitting in the house, but this will give you an idea, and I'll give you some tips if your dog does not easily go into a sit position. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to take Zeus's cone off his head so that you can see his face a little better, and I want to show you a couple tips with how to maneuver the head if they're not sitting down. So I'm just going to remove his cone for this video. So first off, with the sit command, you want your dog to be either in front of you or by your side. Zeus, come. So you can walk up to your dog and place them in front of you. And the idea is to raise the treat above their head, not too high or they will jump for it. So raise the treat, raise the treat above their head, and that will force them into a sit position when their neck tilts back. It's no different than us when we start to tilt back. You're automatically going to want to sit down. So just like with them, you want to get their head to tilt back so they naturally sit. Now if your dog does not automatically sit by tilting their head back, you can put your hand under their chin to force their head to tilt. And another trick is you can tap right above the rear knee, which I'll show you here. Zeus, come. So Zeus is trying to lick his tail, hence why he has a cone on. But right in the back of their legs, you see this little knob here? That's what you can tap when they're standing to force them into a sit position. Alright, well then he's got to clean himself for you guys. So let me give him a minute to finish what he's doing so I can show you with him standing. Okay. No, leave it. Leave it. Don't touch your tail. Okay. So we're going to tilt his head back. Closer. And I'm luring him. Tilt the head back. Good. Yes. So now he's sat down, so I'm going to give him a treat. Now, if you're tilting their head and they're not sitting, that's when you can tap on their chin to get them to look back. Zeus, baby, up. Up. Okay. And the other point, let me just bring him forward because he's a big dog. You can tap right under his little kneecaps and force them to sit as you lure them upwards. Now, he's already a big boy, makes training a little hard, but it is still doable, and it's consistency. As soon as they sit, you give them the confirmation command word, which for Zeus is yes, and you give them the treat. Come closer. I just need to keep him in frame, which is probably the hardest thing where he's a big dog. Now with Zeus it is a little harder because he is all hand gesture trained. So for me, I do this for sit. And you wait a couple seconds after you say the command. You need to give them time to think about it. No. Sit. No, don't touch. Sit. So Zeus's distraction right now is his tail. So I might have to put the cone on him because that is his distraction and I need to block that distraction. So let me put the cone back on him now that I have shown you the basics, and I will re-show you once the distraction has been eliminated how their behavior might change for a training session. Okay, so now that I have his cone back on, look at me. He might have to just relieve himself of that distraction of his tail. Okay, look at me. Yes, sit. Lure the head up. There she was in frame. Lure the head up. And you can also push down on their bum. Right in their hips, there's two little joints on the sides. That's what you can push your hand on to create that pressure. Good, yes. And now to get them to break the sit position, you can say free. That's the release command. Free. And walk them around and back. And then do it again to get them to sit. Oh, you got itchies. Okay, let me get them in frame. Yes. No, that's a lie down. Poor guy. He's got the itchies from his cone. Okay. Free. Come on. Good boy. Now I'm going to lure him back to a sit. And when he doesn't, I'm actually really glad this isn't working right now indoors for the video because I want to show the reality of initially training a dog. It's not always immediate and that simple. So did you see that my hand was too high and he lunged for it? That is why you don't want the treat too high. Now I am going to move to outdoors because I think he's focusing too much on his tail right now and I need that distraction for him to start thinking about other things. Now another thing too is as soon as your dog sits, reward them with the treat, but don't be picky on exactly how your dog sits. Not all dogs are comfortable with both legs directly underneath of them. Some lean to one side, some lean to the other. Roll with it. That is normal. That is how your dog is comfortable. And as long as they are sitting, they are sitting. Don't be picky in the position. If they are comfortable, they'll be more likely to want to sit when you ask it upon a command. Okay, so hopefully this camera angle's a little better. Let me show you a couple different things from a different angle and outdoors and see if I can get Zeus to sit outdoors. Zeus, come. Sit. So, he's got his ball. That's his distraction right now. Zeus. All right, another thing, he might not be into the dehydrated food right now. So let me go grab some steak and get him highly motivated. Those are your different levels. If the kibble's not working, move on to your next bagged dog treats. If the bagged dog treats are not working, move on to your human food. That is a level 3 to get their attention. I found some bacon, butcher cut bacon. Zeus, look what I got. Zeus, come. Look. Oh, let me give you some so you know what it is. Good boy. Okay. Yes. Come over here. Sit. Sit. Good. Yes. Free. Sit. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Free. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Here. Sit. Yes. Oh, I got him out of frame. Come here. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Over here. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Free. Okay, so that was a very realistic training session because your environment can completely change how your dog is going to behave for a training session. And the treats that you select too can drastically change their session. Now, when I have started training Zeus to go into stores, I have to bring the level 3 training treats because the distractions are so drastically intense compared to being at home that I really needed his attention. Now, I've figured Zeus out throughout the year of figuring out what he likes just based off of what I can give him to get him to listen. And you can do the same with your puppy, just gradually giving different things, letting them explore the sense and finding out what they really go crazy for. And that can really help a training session be successful. Now, another key thing, which as you may have noticed when I was training Zeus to sit outdoors here, I didn't just have him sit directly in front of me. I had him to my right side, I had him to my left. I lured him slightly behind me, and that is because different places you're gonna take them, you're gonna have them sit in all different positions. And if your dog is only ever trained to sit in front of you, then it's gonna be very hard to get them to sit next to you when they've never done that. And same with your environment. If you only ever train him indoors to sit, you're not going to get him to sit outdoors for you immediately. That needs to be trained. Your environment, the positioning, you need to mix it up. And don't keep it consistent. Don't make it so that they go to the front, they go to the right, they go to the left. They go to the front, they go to the right, they go to the left. They'll catch on to that pattern. You need to mix it up and make it so there is no pattern, because they'll catch on to that and they'll predict that that's what you're doing. And then when you are somewhere that they've never been and you ask them to sit, you broke the pattern. So try and mix it up. Don't follow a pattern to it. Have them sit in all different places, different positions, and just have fun with it and get to know your dog and make it fun for them, make it successful. That is the key thing, is to make it successful. If your dog is not successful at it, they're not going to want to continue with it. It's going to become frustrating. So you might have to change your environment. You might have to change the treats that you give them. You might have to change the order in which you train. If they train better before they ate their food while they're hungry. Those are all things you need to figure out with your dog and figure out how to keep it as simple for them so they have your undivided attention for a training session. Don't make them too long. That's why you do 2 to 3 times in a training session for the sit, and then you let them go play. You can resume later. It doesn't mean that you're done for the whole day. It just means maybe train for 2 to 3 times for sitting and let them go play for a minute and then come back and train a little more, just to break it up so they don't get bored. So hopefully this video helped you with a couple tips. If they don't sit for you, by putting the treat slightly above their head, you can tap their chin to get them to look back. tap the back of their bum where their tail is, push down a little bit. If that doesn't work, then push in the hind legs in the back to kind of swoop their feet from under them. If that doesn't work, use a better treat, use a different location. So have fun with it. Good luck. Hopefully this video helped you in being successful in the future in training your dog to sit. Thank you. Have a good